What's up everyone, it's Cowdy with Money Vesting. So let me know in the live chat if you guys can hear me, if you guys can see me. We should be all set and there shouldn't be any technical difficulties. So if you guys can see me, if you guys can hear me without any issues, just let me know in the live chat and we should be all set to go. Perfect. Welcome on board. We've got inflation on our hands. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. How excited are you guys for the inflation report? We've got about 20 minutes for the inflation report to come out. So I will be going over what the historical inflation has been, and then of course go over what the expectation is from Wall Street as well. So perfect. The CPI release, no, it's going to be coming out in 20 minutes, so about 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And I've got the yields open, so this is right here, this 10-year yields. We got the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the NASDAQ over here as well. All right, so somebody says cutting in and out. Is that true? Is that I'm cutting in and out a little bit? Just let me know if everything is working accordingly and if you guys can hear me without any issues. The most important thing is that we get this right, so there shouldn't be any technical issues in general. All right, all good here. No, can hear you. Perfect. Great. Also, just do me a favor, just let me know in the live chat if you guys can hear this. If you guys can hear this, just let me know in the live chat. I will play that. It's going to be Bloomberg, and we're going to make sure that we can hear it. All right, so just let me know if you guys can hear this.
Over those details. The price of oil dropped suddenly today after the U.S. called on the OPEC Plus alliance to revive production faster. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says current plans to boost output aren't sufficient. The U.S. has seen...
Perfect. All right, we are all set, everyone. Excited about that. So, all right, let's break down the inflation numbers. By the way, a lot of earnings coming up. We've got NEO reporting today. We got Palantir tomorrow morning, bright and early. I will be live for that as well. But NEO is, of course, going to be hopefully the star of the show. Upstart reported some really strong numbers, so we actually rallied over 21%. Right now trading roughly over 160. Coinbase also up 2.5%. They reported some really strong numbers. And Webull also up over 10% pre-market. So all across the board, we saw some significant pushes higher pre-market as well. I didn't really check Unity Software. Let me just go over that very quickly, and then we'll kind of break down the report. So up over almost 2%. So breaking out to over $109 a share. Pubmatic, yes, Pubmatic also had a really strong move to the upside, right? Up over 7%, 6%, something like that. All right, so we've got the inflation numbers coming out. So today is August 11th, Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. In about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, we're going to get the numbers for July. That's going to be for the last month. And remember, inflation numbers are for the last month, so it's a lagging indicator. We always get it for the previous month. So the U.S. July CPI numbers are coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Latest oil inventory numbers are at 10:30 a.m. Eastern and are expected to show a drop in stockpiles for gasoline and crude. And the U.S. sells $41 billion worth of 10-year notes at 1 p.m. today. So there's auction of 1 p.m., $41 billion in 10-year notes. That's really going to represent how much demand there is for the U.S. 10-year bonds. Remember, when there's demand for bonds, prices move up, yields come down, and vice versa, right? They trade in opposite directions, prices versus bond yields. So this right here is the numbers for the month of June. This is last month's numbers. So this was actually reported in July for the month of June. Again, we're going back 1 month. We had 0.9% or 90 basis point increase in the month of June 2021. You'll notice that we have been basically pushing higher since the beginning of October. So this right here has been a nice steady increase month over month in inflation. Then we saw a little bit of a pullback in the month of May, and then we pretty much went back up to 0.9% once again over here. All right, I might have to reopen that. Just give me 1 second. All right, so yeah, 0.9% in the month of June, and then we'll get the July numbers moving forward as well. This right here, of course, interest rates, something that we have covered in the past. 0.00 to 0.25%. Interest rates are about as low as it can get. So solids, we will go over the consensus estimate for CPI towards the end of this presentation over here very quickly. So again, we're sitting at 5.4% for all items CPI. This is literally August 2008 levels. This was the last time you actually saw those. This is the year-over-year change. So what that really means is that when you compare that with June 2020 versus June 2021, we're seeing a 5.4% increase. This is core CPI when you exclude food and energy. So this is basically taking out those two items. And we are sitting at 4.5%, which is also a multi-decade high. So if you can go back to June 2001, this is about as high as we can get. And we're seeing pretty steep levels here. And you'll notice that I've actually highlighted the range within which we've been trading, right? In the past, it's somewhere between 1 and 3%. And more recently, we're seeing that breakout in core CPI back up to over 4.5%. So it's coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So again, it's coming out at 8:30. Right now it's 5:46 p.m. here. So in about 14 minutes, we're going to get those numbers. So this is what we are going to cover. Apart from the core CPI and the CPI headline numbers, we're going to cover this, which basically kind of looks under the hood and goes over the exact numbers for individual items. So this is, again, 5.4%, exactly what we looked at in the graph. This is the CPI, and how this really works is that you are looking at the June 2021. This is an index, which is a basket of all goods and services. So you're looking at this 271.696. This is June 2021 number. This right here, 257.797. This is June 2020. And you're basically calculating how much increase that is in the overall prices, and that gets you the 5.4%. Month over month, you're basically taking the May 2021 number, 269.195, whatever this is, and then you're basically trying to figure out how much that increases month over month, and that's this 0.9%. Same goes true with core CPI as well. We're getting at 4.5%, but I'm going to be very interested in some of the specific items. You guys already know that we're going to be watching energy prices. That is perhaps the one that's been going up a lot. Then we got appliances, major appliances. We got laundry equipment that's been up over 29.4% for some reason, 30% almost year over year. And you'll notice that month over month, we actually saw an increase of 3.5% for that line item as well. This right here, men's pants and shorts, up over 11%. Women's dresses was up over 15.8% year over year. We got watches and other items, 11.2 and 12.3%. We got used cars and trucks. This is also a really big line item that's up over 45%. And you'll notice month over month, look at this, 10%, 7.3%, 10%. So used car prices really going up. So I would like to see some type of a deceleration in these numbers, right? So again, we're going to break down these individual line items and basically disregard those top line mainstream media numbers like the CPI and the core CPI as well. Then we got tobacco and smoking products up over 7% each year over year. We saw a little bit of an increase over the last few months. And we got lodging away from home up 15% year over year and up 7% from May to June. Look at this increase. Increased 0.4% to 7% in just 1 month, right? So people really went out and started staying away from home. So like hotel prices, motel prices went up as we saw the reopening of the economy. So 16.9% jump there as well. And this right here, of course, car and truck rental. Take a look at this, 87% increase year over year. That was like still a very substantial number, 12%, 16%, 12%, 5%. So still pretty elevated for the rental prices. And then we got public transportation, so airline fares, ship fares up over 17%, 24% year over year, month over month also going up. This right here is the consensus estimate for the upcoming CPI at 8:30 a.m. We're looking at a CPI month over month change of 0.5%, consensus range of somewhere between 40 basis points to as high as 60 basis points. Year over year, we're looking at somewhere between 5.3 and 5.4%. So and a consensus 5.5%. So there is some analysis, some consensus that we are going to see a little bit of a decline in this year-over-year CPI. So very, very interesting to note there. Core CPI year-over-year is expected to be from 4.5%. Consensus is 4.3. The range is 4.1 to 4.7. So it's a little bit lower. It's a little bit higher. We got about 40 basis points lower and about 20 basis points increase. Month-over-month increase of 40 basis points. That's going to be a 0.4% for core CPI as well. So that's the complete inflation report. Again, it's going to be coming out in about 10 minutes. We got some time left over. And again, we'll be breaking down this exact numbers and how they kind of pertain to the individual line items as well. That's going to be the main focus for us. So let's go over to individual stocks here. Upstart up over 21% here pre-market. Then we got Caterpillar that's up over 39 basis points. The infrastructure bill, of course, getting passed, but still needs to be signed. And then we got Tesla down about 28 basis points. And then we got over here, which is NIO, slightly up over 23 basis points as well. So is it too late to buy Upstart? That's a great question. So Upstart, I did a video on them yesterday. Basically, we've been kind of buying up this stock for the last, I want to say like 4 weeks now. I think we started this position back in June. At closer to like 125, I want to say 125, 130. The support was at closer to 110. So our analysis on Upstart was over here. We had both a swing trade and a long-term position on this, considering how you wanted to play this. In my opinion, at the time, we were kind of just establishing the position. They actually reported a monstrous quarter. You'll notice that total revenue up 194 million. That's an increase of over 1,000%. So they basically 10x the revenues. Total fee revenue, which is a transaction amount, that's up over 187 million, an increase of 1,300%. Again, these numbers we wrote down in our yesterday's video, if you guys did get a chance to watch that. And contribution profit basically went up over 2,000%, almost to over 96.7 million, and that's also an increase of 52% compared with 32% same time last year. Net income was very strong. We had adjusted EBITDA that was really strong, but right now, and they also raised their guidance, so this is the financial outlook. Revenue approximately 750 million. The prior guidance was 600 million. I was actually talking about this with one of our Discord members today. In today's market environment, when there's so much uncertainty with the new Delta variant, with inflation, Wall Street doesn't have a good idea on what's going to happen in the future over the next 6 to 12 months. The companies that are going to rally on earnings are going to be the ones that not only beat revenue and EPS expectations, but also give you a really strong guidance. And it would help if they actually raised guidance as well. Look at Coinbase, look at AMD, look at Upstart. These companies actually did rally after hours on earnings. Snapchat also. Amazon actually did not rally because they actually gave us a softer guidance. They gave us a lower guidance in the third quarter 2021. Another company, Pinterest, saw a little bit of a decline, softer guidance. Fiverr, Etsy, those are great examples of softer guidance, and they basically dropped after hours. So in this market, it's kind of like a given. If your revenue EPS beat is like a given, like a company has to do that. That's like a screening sort of thing. And then the next step is if you can raise guidance, that's when we're gonna actually see those rallies. So that's why I was talking about NIO too. Like if NIO can actually raise guidance moving forward, like Apple withdrew their guidance, right? They didn't even give any guidance. They haven't given us any guidance since the beginning of the pandemic. So if NIO can actually raise guidance, if Palantir tomorrow morning, if they can raise guidance, then we could see a potential breakout up to $27 for Palantir, and for NIO back up to $47. But future guidance is so very important. For Upstart, however, I think it's a little bit overpriced at the moment, just based on the valuations that we have gone over. Again, this is the trailing 12-month forward P is I think sitting at roughly about 100. I think I do have the analysis on this. Let's see. Let's see here. So yeah, so forward P is sitting roughly at about 119. We got price to sales at 35, so it is a little bit overpriced in my opinion. And considering after the rally today of 17-20%, this number is going to jump up even higher. Gross margins very strong, well over 65%. We got the balance sheet that's strong enough with current ratio sitting well over 8. Total cash, plenty of cash to wipe off the debt 4 times over, so it's really strong as well. This right here was actually out of their earnings call. This is a transcript, which basically goes over their auto market that they are going to be tapping into. So ideally, I would like to wait if you are someone who's going to be establishing a new position on this. I would personally like to wait before the price is going to come down and to a more reasonable valuation, because paying 165 for Upstart is paying a huge premium on this company as well. All right, we got about 6 minutes left for inflation numbers to come out. I'm super excited. I just want to make sure that everything is working perfectly. We got the volatility index here. We got the VIX that's slightly up, just under 17 levels, up over 65 basis points, and then we got the NASDAQ pulling back a little bit, down about 18 basis points. And then we got SPY that's also down about 12 basis points. The Dow is pretty much flat on the day. So, Caddy, did you read any of the Coinbase shareholder letters? If so, what did you think? Personally, I think this is hugely undervalued when you compare their numbers with any other company. I did not get a chance to read their shareholder letter. I did get a chance to look at their earnings, which were really strong, but I still have to kind of catch up on all the earnings calls. Since I'm not able to actually listen in on the earnings call live, what I usually do is I go over and basically read through the transcript. Every earnings call will have a transcript that you can read, and you can kind of search different terms, you can search different things. I like it the written form, so I can basically take notes off of that. So I would have to read that and then kind of judge basically how Coinbase is going to do in the future. But yeah, very, very strong earnings. I think it's up to like 270 or something pre-market. So 278, so it's up over 3%, so it's very strong. Again, having a strong breakout over 254 and the 50 EMA as well. So my next target on the stock is at $302. That's the next resistance. And again, we've been buying this stock at closer to 215 as well. So new earnings, Rami, is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow after the markets close. Well, actually no, today after markets close. I'm sorry. Today after the markets close. Here, let me pull up the calendar very quickly so I don't confuse myself. So, all right, here it is. So today, Wednesday after the markets close, right there. Palantir's tomorrow morning. Then we got Baidu tomorrow. We got Wish, Airbnb, Rocket Companies, Walt Disney. SoFi is also reporting tomorrow, so I will be doing kind of like a separate video. Maybe I'll cover this during our live stream as well. And we also got Tattooed Chef. I'm actually going to be interested in that stock. I know that a lot of people are going to be watching that company. Tattooed Chef, I feel like there's a lot of buzz around that company too. And then today, Open Door, I'd be somewhat watching that. Not too interested, but we got Lordstown Motors, we got Bumble also reporting, and then we got Clover Health, Coupang, eBay reporting their earnings as well. All right, so we got 3 minutes left for the markets to react to pretty much the CPI data, and again we've got we'll keep the yields over here. So we're gonna switch over to the yields, which by the way have been pushing higher. You'll notice that we're coming from 1.13% for the 10 years back up to 1.36, up over 22% right now. All right, quick poll. Let me know in the live chat, what do you guys think about inflation? Are we gonna? So right now it's at 5.4%. That's the top line CPI. Do you guys think we're gonna go up from 5.4 or come back down from 5.4? So is it gonna be more than 5.4 or less than 5.4? Let me know, more or less, in the live chat. Quick poll. We got about 2 minutes left. All right, slightly down, up. Mostly people are saying up, over 6%. Somebody says over 6%. 6%, ooh, couple 6%ers. More, up. Couple downs. 6%, 6% people. Really, I mean, that would be like a huge increase. Zach says everyone thinks it's up, so it'll definitely be down. All right, we're gonna reload this page as soon as the numbers come out in about a minute, pretty much. All right, then we're gonna listen in on Bloomberg, right? 4.7, 5.6. $6.9 or 8%. That would be crazy. All right, about 15 seconds. The market should react. Bloomberg is usually late, a couple of seconds, but hopefully we can get that. All right, make sure you guys can hear this.
We are seconds away from an inflation report in America. From New York City this morning, good morning. Alongside Tom Keane, Lisa Bramwitz, I'm Jonathan Ferro. Your equity market down 1/10% on the S&P. Treasury yields higher by a basis point or two at 136. Here are the numbers. Here's Mike McKee.
Well, good morning, John. We come in bang on estimations for the overall CPI up 0.5% on the month, which takes the year-over-year rate and the headline to 5.4%, actually leaves it at 5.4%. There was a thought it might drop to 5.3%. On the core, we get a move of 0.3%, and that is lower than forecast. 0.4 was the forecast, and last month it was a 0.9 rise. So as I mentioned, the idea of the rate of change is what is going to matter here, and we get a core rate of 4.3%. That's down from 4.5% in June. So overall, better news. Let's take a quick look at some of the components here. Food up 0.7, and that is something that people have been keeping an eye on. Food away from home, one of those categories that had been going up rather rapidly, up 0.8%, which is more than it was in June, with 0.7, and so food at home 4.6%. Energy up 23.8% on a year-over-year basis. Gasoline on the month up 2.4%. We've seen a rollover in prices in terms of oil, so we should see in August gasoline prices go down. Used cars and trucks. Now here's a big change. Used cars and trucks up only 0.2%. In June, they were up 10.5%. So we were expecting a rollover there, and we got it. Apparel up 0.2%. It was up. Apparel's unchanged, rather. It was up 0.7 the month before. So at this point, it looks like we are seeing a lot of the temporary effects fade from the CPI that the Fed had been expecting to change. And I know David Kelly's looking at owner's equivalent rent up 0.3. That's the same as the prior month. We have been waiting to see how quickly owner's equivalent rent, the idea of home prices, changes in the CPI after rental prices have gone up. And one last one, John, 2.7% for airfares. They were up 7% in June. So a lot of the things that had been pushing up prices no longer doing so.
Fading a bit. It's deceleration. Deceleration is what we trade on right now. Let me whip through the price action for you. Your equity market on the S&P 500 turning positive, up 7 on the S&P. We advanced by 0.15%. The Nasdaq catching a bit, up 28 on the Nasdaq 100. Futures there, positive 0.2%. Let me quietly and slowly go through what's happening in the bond market. Yields were higher by a couple of basis points on 10s. That move sticks. We're still at 136, 137. Move at the front end, Tom. 2-year yields come in about a half a basis point. It is not a big move in any way, shape or form. It is 3 minutes after the print, but it's important just in terms of the direction that that yield didn't go higher off the back of a hotter than expected CPI print.
I agree, John.
I would say in some way, Tom, just an early take, but for the Federal Reserve, they'll be a little bit more comfortable with this one this morning.
People don't have the luxury of Michael McKee to dive into the data, and when they do dive...
All right, so we are flat. Let's kind of break down the report here. This one is not updated, it feels like. All right, there it is. So we're gonna go over the PDF here. We'll pull up the charts. So there we go. So we are at 5.4% for total CPI, which stays pretty stable. And we're also, for the core CPI, coming down pretty nicely here. So yeah, I don't know why that's acting weird, but we are coming from 4.5% down to 4.3. So that's a drop there. All right, so we got an increase of 0.5% in July. Over the last 12 months, the index of all items increased 5.4%, so that's pretty much flat. Not a single move up, not a single move down. So index for all items, that's food and energy, rose 0.3% in the month of July, increasing 0.9% in June. So there we go. Look at that drop month over month. And again, if you guys remember that video that I put out yesterday with my expectations, I mentioned that we may slightly go up, but we may go up at a deceleration or like a decelerating pace. And this could be like an inflection point where we could basically start coming down. And the biggest changes are because of the temporary items that we were seeing going up based on the reopening of the economy and kind of the influx of demand that we saw. So this is, again, June 2021, July 2021. We're going to go down a little bit to the list. Actually, much further down the list. So this is, so this right here is what we're going to break down very quickly. So again, all items, this is the top line CPI, 5.4%, unchanged. And this right here is all items, that's food and energy. So that's core CPI is sitting at 4.3, so coming down from previous levels. So let's take a look at energy prices. Energy prices still up substantially from a year ago. So we are still up 23, 41, 42% year over year. But this is June 2021 to July 2021, right? So we're seeing a 1.6%, 2.3%, 0.6% for fuel oil, 2.4%, 2.4%. So basically decelerating at that pace. Moving forward, apparel prices are going to be right here. So they are still up 4.2% year over year, but unchanged, 0.0%. Not a huge, no change there for apparel. Used cars and trucks. This is the biggest driver here. Look at this one. So if you guys can kind of focus in, you'll notice for the last 2 months, 7.3%, 10.5%, and look at this month, 0.2%. 0.2%. That's a steep drop from last month, right? Right there. That's the big driver bringing down that top line CPI and core CPI here further down. So again, keep a close eye on this item, right, all the way farther to the right. If you guys see any big inclines or declines, just let me know, spot them out, and we'll go over that. But this is what we're really looking at. We're looking at big increases or decreases on the far right column here. All right, so moving forward, everything else pretty much stays same. So 4.4% increase a little bit, which is other pork, including roast steak and ribs. So that was a little bit higher month over month. So coming in from 5%, that was up 4.4% month over month. Year over year is still pretty stable at 5% increase. Let's see. So nothing crazy here. Let's just go over to some of the items that we were looking at earlier. So energy we already covered. Major appliances, I'm interested in that one. So major appliances, laundry equipment, that's up over 17%. 18% year over year. Look at this. From 3.5%, that's actually down, negative 0.9%. So prices actually went down for laundry equipment or laundry appliances, basically, month over month. So men's apparel, we were looking at pants and shorts, which was up a lot and only up 0.2%. So not a huge deal there. Women's dresses, which is up 18.8%. That is still up for some reason. Month over month, 5.5% increase. Still up from 5% here. And that's still up over 18% year over year. Women's dresses, for some reason, is still up month over month. So a lot of spending there. All right, so a couple more items that we were looking at. Right here, 6.8%. What is this? So we've got, all right, so hotels and basically lodging away from home. Still relatively high, 6% increase month over month. After coming from 7% last month, 6% here in the month of July. And this right here, 21.5% year over year. So that's still up. So people, even though so they're reopening of the economy, they're still willing to stay away from home. Motels, hotel prices, so on and so forth. There's a couple more items that I want to go over: airline fares and car rentals and trucks. So right here, car and truck rentals up 73% year over year. So now it's starting to decelerate, right? So we're now starting to come back down. Negative 4.6%. So prices went down for car and truck rentals. 12% prior the month before that, 5% the previous month, and negative 4.6% this month, July 2020, June to July 2021. And then we're looking at airline fares right here. Look at this, 7%, 2%, and then negative 0.1%. So it's starting to come back down. So biggest drops that we see is used car prices. We've got car and truck rentals with a big drop here, and airline fares also coming down. Women's dresses still relatively high, but other line items that we were focusing on also coming down month over month. All right, so that's that. Again, this number coming back down. All items also staying pretty stable at 5.4%. All right, so the Nasdaq is up over 27 basis points here, and the S&P is up over 14 basis points. So that makes a lot of sense because Nasdaq, which is very growth heavy, it's up more than the Dow, which is pretty much up over 14 basis points, and the S&P is also up over 14 basis points. So the Nasdaq is pushing higher, and we should see some of the stocks reflect that. Look at the bounce on Tesla. Like, look at the bounce here on Tesla. In one single 5-minute candle, it went up over almost 1%. Back up to $713. And this right here is going to be AMD, back up to $107. And let's take a look at Apple here. Look at Apple, also pricing in that very, very quickly, right? Up over 24 basis points. Upstart pretty high here still. And we've got Amazon also pushing higher. Let's take a look at some of the banks here. I'm interested in what the banks are doing. So, all right, let's look at Bank of America. So Bank of America pulling back a little bit, right? It was up to 41.60. You saw a drop of about 25 basis points. Not a huge deal, but definitely pulling back. JP Morgan pretty much flat here on the news. Wells Fargo did see a little bit of a drop. So this is a clear indication as to what really happened, right? So we got inflation basically kind of decelerating at those levels, and of course total CPI staying flat, core CPI coming down 0.2% or 20 basis points, and a lot of those items which were said to be temporary are actually playing out with used car rentals, lodging away from home, airline fares, all those prices coming back down drastically. I mean, they're actually coming down, like they're dropping in prices. It's not like they're stabilizing, they're actually decreasing in prices as well. So very, very interesting. What do you guys think? What did you guys make of that inflation report? So the broader markets now, I mean, so we've got the Jackson Hole meeting at the end of this month. So that's going to be August 26, 27. By the way, I still have to kind of update our calendar here, which is going to be this one right here. So we still have another event coming out. So tomorrow we've got the Producer Price Index report, so PPI for the month of July. And then we got retail sales later this month. And then we got the Jackson Hole meeting where Jerome Powell has a speech, which we are going to break down as well. So I think they're going to stick with their story of inflation being transitory, and I think the better this inflation report gets, I think the sooner we basically understand that they are going to stick with that transitory story, right? So we are potentially with this report not going to see any potential threats of interest rate hikes, considering that next month this CPI number starts pulling back. So you'll notice that we have been basically going up a lot. So if I go back up here, so this chart, you'll notice that for the last, I want to say like since December, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the last 7 months, we've actually been pushing higher for the total CPI and the core CPI as well. You'll notice that since right around these levels, I wish I could highlight that, but December, January, you'll notice that we've just been on a consistent push higher, right? CPI has just been right here, 1.8. This is perhaps 2.5. This is well over 4%. This is 5%. This is 5.2, 5.4, and now we're starting to see that deceleration, right? So the real question really is, and I want you guys to kind of take part in this, are we going to see this number continue to push higher? This was just like 1 month, and this number is going to continue to push higher, or if we're going to see this as being the inflection point and then start coming back down, right? That's the real question, because core CPI is already representing that. We're already seeing that decline, the first tick down. So that total CPI number, that's the real question. If that happens, then of course I don't expect the Fed to raise rates until, they can be sort of more casual with it, because of course the biggest questions were that inflation is going to get out of hand and we might have to raise rates to freeze liquidity, and then of course that's going to control the prices, that's going to control the spending. But if it stays down, if it comes back down and kind of gets more aligned with Fed's long-term target, which is at 2%, they want the inflation to be kind of anchored at 2%. Then we could see like more quantitative easing environment kind of be longer than expected. Look at the Nasdaq, up over 37 basis points now. Yeah, so I mean, if wages keep going up, that's a great question. So wages have been going up mostly because of the utility sector. I don't think I have that report anymore, but I broke down the labor market as well, right? So unemployment number now sitting well over I think it was like 5.4%, coming down from 5.9. And wages have been going up because of the, mostly because of the utility sector, financials, and IT, because there's a shortage of supply there. Leisure, hospitality, even though there's an influx of so many jobs, so many people actually going back into those sectors, the average hourly earnings are not really there in that sector. They're mostly in the utility sector, the financials, and IT, because there's a lack of supply for jobs. So after September, after like this next month, I could see the labor market improve drastically as well. So when there's a lot of people competing for those jobs, then I could see the wages coming down, because right now it's like, you know, employers are really struggling to find employees. I was actually reading one of the articles which basically said that Wall Street, some of the biggest banks, are now raising their first-year analyst salaries, and they're going up to as high as $110,000 per year for first-year analysts because of the shortage in that space, because of how much less supply there is for actual workers in that sector. So they're raising the wages to attract more people to start working there. I think the same is true for utilities. I think the same is true for the IT sector. So if more and more people go back to work, and again, there's over 10 million job openings right now in the US. That's the JOLTS report that we got earlier this week. And after September, when the unemployment rates benefits kind of expire, schools reopen, Delta's under control, I see like a huge influx of workers back into the labor force and looking for jobs, and that's going to bring eventually wages down as well, in my opinion, for those specific sectors. Because right now what you have is you have wages going up, but you have inflation going up at a much higher clip. So you've got a significant purchase power disparity there, that you're losing purchasing power simply, even if you're getting that cost of living raise at your work. So that's why it's so important to keep investing, right? Because inflation is going up higher at a much faster rate than the actual wages. All right, so Tom, thank you so much for that donation. I really appreciate that. And of course, I'm happy to wake up earlier in the morning. So I hope you guys did get the full report and understood it correctly, and where we are and why the NASDAQ is pushing higher versus the S&P versus the Dow. And now we got about roughly 45 minutes till the market open. So we're going to break down some of the stocks here and go over some earnings that are coming up as well. I'll go over some of the live chat because I know I've been kind of ignoring you. But all right, let's do this. So CPI measurement is a joke. Look at the house prices or asset prices. That's a great question. So asset prices are not included in the CPI report. CPI stands for consumers, right? Consumer Price Index. It only goes over what you're actually spending money on as goods and services on your day-to-day, right? And for some reason, Bureau of Labor Statistics, the reporting agency that reports this number, doesn't really include asset prices in this CPI report, because they don't expect home prices to be consumption item. They expect home prices to be as an investment or like an asset, but they're only including goods and services that you're spending money on day to day, right? Shelter is included, which is part of rents. And I know that a lot of people don't believe in the CPI report. They think that it's completely false, it's inaccurate. But the truth is that we don't have anything else, right? What are we going to look at? What are we going to look at in terms of inflation, right? This is the only agency that kind of puts together all the prices together. We've got food broken down in different categories. We've got so many different things. I mean, they're the ones that are tracking these prices month over month. So whether we believe it or not, the market believes in it, right? The market prices that in. So, and I get, like, it's not going to be fully accurate because it's very difficult to track all these hundreds of different goods and services, but this is all we have. So yeah, so it's only consumer price index, so it's only a basket of goods and services that we spend money on, right, day to day. It's going to be all those different items. That's different from asset inflation, right? Asset inflation is going to be actual home prices, stock prices, different things. So again, that's up for debate if asset prices should be included in the consumer price index or not. I know this has been a debate for a long time. Those women dresses are going to crash the market. Right, so let's take a look at Amazon here. Somebody wants to do an analysis on Amazon. Look at the yields. Yields starting to pull back here very quickly. So yields getting rejected at the 50 EMA, now down over 1%. That's really interesting because they were up earlier. Look at this. Look at the yields. Actually, right at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we dropped over 2.5% for the yields, down to 1.34. And that, of course, is drifting the NASDAQ and the S&P higher. So, all right, let's take a look at Amazon here. Amazon pushing higher, 24 basis points. 3,300 is the next support that we're watching for Amazon stock. I think the earnings were really good for the company. Still 113 billion revenue versus 115. Estimate is only a 2 billion miss, and 27% growth year over year still represents great opportunity. My price target still well over $4,000 for this company as well. Richard, I am feeling better, so thank you for that. Feeling a lot better today, so thanks. So yeah, 3,300 is going to be the support. $3,000 is going to be a much better level of demand, and preferably, like I would like to add some more shares at that $3,000 level. But 3,300 is still going to be a very strong support with a resistance at 3,560. We've got a huge gap that Amazon is potentially going to fill in, so I do expect Amazon to eventually fill that gap moving forward. Upstart to 167. There's our alert going off. Potentially, we could see our target at 170 today. Hopefully. So 170 is still our target here on Upstart. Tech go yay or nay? I think it's a yay. I think the Nasdaq is pricing that in, so I think we're seeing a little bit of a push higher. All right, let's take a look at Pinterest. Yes, so Pinterest. Again, year-over-year comps are too difficult for this company to beat right now. Softer guidance similar to Amazon. These are companies that have actually done really well during the pandemic. Amazon, you got Amazon, Pinterest, Etsy, Fiverr, and now they're having to struggle with these year-over-year comps that are really difficult to beat. But the growth is still there. Saw a small decline in the monthly active users. They actually increased their average revenue per user, which is very strong. So with every SaaS company or kind of like a social media company, or if they're selling a software, the two things that I like to look at personally is user growth. I want the company to grow their users, and I want the company to actually increase the revenue per user as well. So that's how you get explosive boom from both ends, right? You're not only increasing the number of users on your platform, but you're also increasing the amount that they're spending or generating on your platform as well. So that's like a double whammy for that specific company. In this case, we actually saw one of the two. So, and future guidance, of course, was soft as well. So $53 is the next support that I'm watching. Definitely oversold. You're right. So RSI trading well below around 31, 32 levels. The MACD is also very oversold, but I still think that it trades at a slightly rich valuation. So statistics, 18 times sales is high, right? It's high even in this market. 18 times sales is pretty rich. So I'd be more comfortable kind of letting this stock cool off a little bit, pull back, because the growth is still there. The fundamentals are still good, but the valuation is not very aligned with what I would like to pay for this stock. SoFi, yes, I will break down SoFi's earnings tomorrow live stream, because I don't necessarily have those estimates right now. It's up over 1.4%. Let's see if we can actually find anything here. Yes, there's not a lot of updates here on SoFi's page, but right now we're just tagging that 50 EMA at close to whatever that 1725 level. So 1725 is the 50 EMA. We're trading at 1723, and we're seeing that nice move back up. It's pushing higher, so it was a little bit oversold, and we actually did see looks like some bullish divergence or positive divergence for the stock, considering that the RSI was making higher lows here and the price itself was making lower highs. So it was due for some type of reversal, and of course the MACD also pushing higher as well, well above the signal line. So next resistance to watch, if we get that successful breakout, is going to be 1930 levels, and actually go ahead and turn this level back into a support of 1675, 1660 levels for SoFi. And again, we'll break down the earnings tomorrow at market open live stream, because they're reporting after the markets close tomorrow. So SoFi tomorrow after the markets close. All right, let's take a look at Square. So Square has also had a really strong rally, right? Up over 1.25%. This is probably after the inflation report that we just got. It's up over 47% after hitting that support of $200 a share. Strong move to the upside. I think when you look at the valuation, it still trades at a pretty rich valuation, similar to what we looked at for PayPal as well. So I think both PayPal and Square are trading at pretty rich valuations here. I wouldn't necessarily be buying at these levels, unless of course you already have a position, then that's great. So in a bull market, PE 35, then moderately rated. So what do you mean moderately rated? Do you mean like in a bull market that's okay for a company to trade at 35 PE? Yeah, so price of sales depends on the company and the sector. You're right. Of course, with Amazon trading at 3 times sales, because it has a different. So the way Amazon is structured, and I'll kind of break down growth sectors obviously trade at a much higher price of sales. Apple trades at 7 times sales versus something like Intel that trades at a much lower price of sales, right? It depends on a lot of different things. It depends on the margins that the company is generating. It depends on the sector that they're in, and it depends on how much growth the company has seen in terms of revenue. So it's a multiple of different things, right? So of course, when the company is going at a much higher price growth rate, like Square and Upstart and all these companies, they're going to be trading at a much higher price of sales, right? Maybe they're going to be trading at 10 times, 15, 20 times sales. Some companies I've seen have actually been trading at 100 times sales, like Snowflake has been trading at well over triple digit sales. Maybe it's come down a little bit, but it's trading at 114 times sales. So, that is really expensive, which is nothing wrong, but as an investor, you just have to be aware that you are going to be paying a premium for this company, right? So you have to be prepared for a potential weakness or a correction, or if the price pulls back, right? So that's the only concern I have here. So, all right, so let's take a look at, so Moderna has actually been going up, right? So Moderna has absolutely been killing it recently. So after getting included in the S&P 500, so yesterday it was down over 5.7%. Now it's slightly down over 2% as well. So lead got squared 200. That's awesome. Congratulations on those gains. That's fantastic. That's actually a really good price. 200 is a really good price in my opinion for Square. So Moderna, RSI through the roof, MACD through the roof, really overbought. So really not touching this. And this company has been on absolute rally. Look at from March 2021 alone. This thing is up over 330%. What is going on? From September 2020, the stock is up 800%. Oh man. Congratulations to anyone who's been trading this or just invested in this stock. I mean, these are just like crazy gains. Look at from March 2020, 18 months ago. If you could go back, hindsight's 2020, but if you could only buy one stock, Moderna seems to be like the huge winner, up over 2,600%. Oh, those are like, but you also had to weather through a lot of volatility. I'm assuming this stock has a beta of well over 3, because look at these drops. I mean, from 178, this is like a 43% drop. This right here is a 38% drop. This on earnings, this is like another 47% drop. This another 43. So you had to go through multiple 44, 45% drops to actually be buying in March 2020 lows and just be holding up until now. If you did, I mean, props to you. Those were some real gains here. So Alvando, we already broke down the inflation report. The markets are seeming to be optimistic with this inflation report. The Nasdaq specifically seems to be much higher than the S&P and the Dow Jones because growth and tech stocks are pushing higher. Because inflation was the actual CPI flat at 5.4%, core CPI actually went down. So depends on how you look at it. If you think that inflation is transitory, then yes, the report was great. It was fantastic. But if you don't believe in this transitory story, you can make an argument that this is only 1 month, and next month we're going to continue on this trajectory back up to potentially over 5.5. And we actually polled, we took a poll earlier before the inflation report came out. Everyone, almost a lot of people said up, and well over 6%. That was the estimate. Well over 6%. A couple of people said. So, and Zach called it out. Zach said when everyone thinks that it's going to go up, inflation is going to come down. And that's exactly what happened. That's really interesting. All right, so where were we? We already breaking down Moderna. So support to watch for Moderna is going to be at 362. Yeah, so Goat Gods also called it. Yep, that's great. So this right here is going to be the next support at 362, right? 360, 362 levels. Previous resistance, we actually broke out of a minor sort of ascending triangle here and then broke out even further. So yeah, that right here is going to be the stock here. Let's go over to Palantir very quickly. Palantir is reporting tomorrow morning. I think it's better that we go over the reports today than go over tomorrow morning. So it's up over 1% as a result of this inflation report. So we are seeing a bit of a rally here. And this right here are going to be the numbers projected from Palantir. So it said that it expects to bring in $360 million in revenue in its second quarter compared with $344 million. And for the full fiscal year, the company anticipates adjusted free cash flows in excess of $150. And they are expecting growth rates of 30% or more from 2021 through 2025. So that's the compounded annual growth rate the company is expecting for the next 5 years. I think that's way too conservative. Again, that's just my opinion. I think 30% is just Palantir giving us a very conservative, kind of lowballing that number. And I think they're going to come in at well over 45-50% growth. Now, it may not be sustainable. We may see that in 2021. We may see that going into next year, the following year. But as they scale their business and grow their revenues, the growth rates will come down. But somehow, of course, Amazon has been able to do 30% year over year for the last like 10, 15 years. But Palantir is like a B2B business, so it's business to business. So it's really difficult to scale that type of business, right? So there's less business than there are people. Of course, people are a lot more than there are businesses out there. And since they're only targeting the businesses, it's going to be a little bit challenging for them to scale rapidly as well. But that being said, I'm still expecting this number. So Palantir currently has about 149 customers. Still expecting that number to at least go up to as 165, 170 or higher. And also interested in that average revenue per customer, right? So remember when I went over how there's two things in a SaaS model that I'm looking at, customer growth and the average revenue per customer growth. So 8.1 million, expecting that to go up to at least 8.3, 8.4 million. I would ideally want Palantir to also dive into like small, medium-sized businesses, because we went over this earlier. If a company is paying $8.1 million to Palantir for their software, it's a pretty large company. I mean, you can expect that company to be generating north of $100 million in revenue, right? So average revenue for its top 20 customers, 36.1 million. So that's really high too. So, average 20 customers, top 20 customers, I'm assuming these companies are well over $1 billion in revenue, or these could also include like governments, right? The US government, the Defense Department could also be part of that. But I really want small, medium businesses to kind of have a little bit of piece of the pie for Palantir as well. So tomorrow, pre-market is going to be very interesting. I mean, this is just gearing up for a potential breakout. Just from a pattern standpoint, we're trading above the moving average. We're trading above the support. 22.75 held up really nicely yesterday. So you'll notice that this right here was a support. And low for yesterday was 22.78. So literally we just validated before pushing higher. And of course, pre-market we're back up to $23. So in my opinion, there is a possibility for us to see some more upside for Palantir going into tomorrow's earnings. Largely depends on the future guidance and what they basically tell us for the third quarter 2021 as well. All right, let's see. Likely the S&P 500 to make a new high today. Yeah, I mean, it could hit a new all-time high here. We're already at new all-time highs. The S&P has just been drifting to the upside. And of course, NASDAQ has also been pushing higher. Just a little bit of a pullback yesterday. And of course, pre-market today, we're pushing higher as well. All right, let's take a look at NEO. We got about 27 minutes still. Look at this, Wells Fargo. We were watching banks here. What happened here? Wells Fargo dropped drastically. So did Bank of America, so did JP Morgan, flat now. Goldman Sachs down 22 basis points. So I mean, you can just kind of tell like the difference between like value and growth here, with banks coming down, which are considered to be value plays, and then Tesla, AMD, like Apple pushing higher, right? So the market really pricing in as the yields dropped. Yes, so Anonymous, thank you for reminding me that. The yields dropped. So 10-year yield is now pulling back substantially. So yeah, let's take a look at Caterpillar. Still staying up. Let's take a look at ChargePoint. Up 2%. So ChargePoint also pushing higher. Alright, so let's just go over some of your guys' stocks. We have broken down a few. Let's just go over FuboTV. Actually, I didn't even go over FuboTV's earnings here. Coinbase earnings, I did see them, Michael. They were great. I really liked it. The revenue came in like crazy, $2 billion plus revenue. That was amazing. So FuboTV on Tuesday narrowed its adjusted loss to 38 cents per share. In Q2, $1.46 per share earlier, and easily outperforming analyst estimates at 49 cents. Revenue jumped to 196% to $130 million from a year ago, also exceeding 121 million estimates. The company expects revenue 140 to 144 million and 810,000 to 820,000 subscribers. Street estimate was 127. For the full year 2021, it now projects 116% growth to 570 million, up from 101% previously, 920,000 subscribers, compared with consensus of 531.1 million revenue. So great earnings all in all. I mean, revenue beat, EPS beat, raising their guidance, and those are the 4 recipes for a stock to really push higher in this market. If they kind of miss on the first 2, revenue, EPS beat, like GM did, GM actually missed on EPS, and then they raised their future guidance, but they still dropped. In this market, again, like I said earlier, I think the preliminary focus, it's like for you to even get at the door, it's like you have to beat revenue, you have to beat EPS, and then if you can raise guidance, then we'll kind of give you some love, or else you're just getting punished down. So Webull, 14% gain. That's pretty solid. Next target, next resistance is going to be at closer to this level. We have actually swing traded this stock in the past, but I do see a lot of potential for this company as well over the long term with the streaming service. 10 times sales, which I think for a SaaS company is, I would say, just borderline rich. Still high, but I think it's reasonable for Fubo TV, and I think the EPS with the price to earnings also 4P would be reasonable for the company moving forward. I think the market cap is also only $4 billion in market cap. So strong move for Fubo. $35 is going to be the next resistance. All right, Dave, thank you so much for that like. I really appreciate it. Let's take a look at Pubmatic. Pubmatic has had a really strong rally here from $27, $28, up 30% here, breaking out over that resistance pre-market of 35. Also, that 50 EMA, we actually got tagged at that level yesterday, and now we're seeing that momentum to the upside. So, all right, let's see here. So Pubmatic Tuesday posted Q2 earnings 18 cents per share, up from literally nothing a year ago. Analyst poll was 8 cents. We got that EPS beat. Revenue 49.7 from 26.4. Wall Street consensus was 45.7. We got revenue beat and EPS beat. The online advertising company expects revenue 51 to 53 million, as well as 205 to 209 million for the full year. And prior outlook was 195 to 200. The street estimate was 47. There you go, 198. I'm telling you, revenue beat, EPS beat, you raise guidance, the market is going to love you. You raise guidance, the market is going to love you. So it projects annual revenue growth of 25% for the full 2020 year. The street forecast was 239. So there we go. Perfect earnings in my opinion for Pubmatic. Profitable company. I think the short interest is still pretty high. We looked at this company yesterday, 36%, 37% short interest on a very low float. I think it's got a lot of potential. So Pubmatic is actually a software as a service company. It's the complete opposite of Trade Desk. They actually offer content creators, publishers the opportunity to kind of advertise, and they're on the sell side. I believe so Trade Desk is on the buy side. They are on the sell side of the business. So it engages in the provision of a specialized cloud infrastructure platform for advertising transactions. Technology infrastructure caters both internet content creators and advertisers, and it operates through the following geographical segments: United States, we got Europe, Americas, Asia Pacific, and rest of the world. So that's that. And again, profitable company with a great balance sheet as well. Heavily shorted. All right. What is your view on Pinterest? We already covered Pinterest. You can kind of go back on the live stream and check that. APPS, revenue beat, EPS beat, market is not loving. Yes, let's take a look. APPS, Digital Turbine, was interesting. It's up over 1.75, kind of bouncing off of that $60 level. But let's take a look at their earnings. Maybe there's something that we can gather from the future guidance here. So adjusted EPS 34 cents, up from 13 cents. The analyst poll with 31 cents. So we got EPS beat, revenue 212 million from 59 million a year ago. The street estimate was 191 million. So we got both of those beats. The company projects Q2 revenue 300 plus 306 million adjusted, EPS 38 cents versus street estimate of 294 and 37 cents. So yes, we also got a quadruple beat on this one, but the market seems to not like this for some reason, which I'm not too sure of. If you have more information on this, we would love that. But yesterday we had a really steep drop of 6.8%. So yeah, I know what happened to APPS. APPS guidance was not good enough. Was it really? Where did you find that information? Would love to know that. But yeah, definitely dropping over 6.8% yesterday. Even though, in my opinion, I think the revenue, EPS beat, and the guidance was good, was decent. $60 is going to be the support on Digital Turbine on the day today. And of course, we've got these lower highs kind of following up. Those are going to be the lower highs here. All right. So we already covered Neo, Tesla. We covered APPS. We've covered Pinterest. Covered a lot of different things here. Intel. All right. Let's do this for Intel. So Intel just consolidating sideways. $53 is a support here. And we've got $54, that's where we're trading. I really like this Intel, but again, you have to really understand that this is a new Intel. This is not the Intel of the past, right? This is not Intel 2010 or 2005 when they were really dominating the entire semiconductor space. This is a new Intel with the new CEO, with the new plans that they have, a new vision, and of course with AMD and NVIDIA just really coming for Intel right now. You have to understand that Intel, even though it's undervalued, revenue has declined year over year, right? And we're seeing chips getting delayed. So if you're okay with that risk, I think it's a low risk, potential high reward play. There's better opportunities, in my opinion, for Intel to kind of get in at closer to $48, $43 if you see those pullbacks. But of course, with a 2.5% yield, price to earnings, price to sales so low, in my opinion, Intel is undervalued. But again, the new management is really going to dictate where this company goes. And if AMD is going to, that would be absolutely crazy if you look back 7 years from now. 7 years from now, AMD is about a 13 billion revenue. Intel does, I think, 75 billion or something. 77 billion. Imagine 7 years from now, AMD is doing more revenue than Intel, and has completely turned the table, has more market share, has more revenue. That would be insane. That would be something. That would be like a turnaround of the biggest turnaround in any sector or industry that we would have ever seen. What do you guys think? Love to know what you guys think and what your thoughts are in this AMD and Intel battle. Even though I feel like it's not a fair comparison, based on what they produced in terms of the chips, and of course, with the different stages of the business that they're in. AMD is more like a growth company. Intel's already well established with so much revenue. Of course, their growth is not going to grow at that clip. But Lisa Su has really turned around AMD to like a lot of extent. Yeah, but it's hard to imagine though since Apple started making their own chips. That's true. So don't bet against Lisa Su. That's true. We never did. And it's been really well. But Intel, again, I find it attractive at these prices. Would find it really attractive at lower prices. But again, it's the new management that we're taking a risk on. Same with Walgreens, right? Walgreens has a turnaround story playing out under the new CEO. We'll see how that does. Yesterday was a decent day, 2%. All right, let's take a look at AYX. So Altrix, 4 billion market cap, 1.5 million volume, growing revenues. I like that. Quarter over quarter. So Mohammed, I'll go over QSI in just a second. 9 times sales, no PE here. Let's take a look at the balance sheet very quickly. So, all right, debt at well over 840 million, cash is 661. So not the best balance sheet in terms of cash to debt. Current ratio 2.99, so that's good. Gross margins 89%, that's really high. Almost 90% gross margins. So that is very good for the company. Let's take a look at cash flows. So go to the annual 15, 19, 22, 48. So they've done a good job in growing those free cash flows. That's for sure. And the stock is still down from 186 to down to 72, so it's down 61%. That makes sense because at 186 the price to sales would have been through the roof. Price to earnings it's not there anymore, not right now because they're not profitable. But I feel like I've done some analysis on this because if I have some support lines, that means we have looked into this company before. So support level I have is at 64.75. Looks like we did kind of bounce off of that level on August 4th when they reported their earnings, which apparently were up over 67% surprise here. There seems to be some type of a bullish divergence here. So if you take a look at this lower high for the price, so lower high is being formed here, and we got the higher lows for the RSI. So I would actually not be surprised to see a potential reversal here play out for this company. So I'll keep this on my watch and create some alerts. Thank you and shout out to whoever brought this company up. All right, we got alerts. Let's see. Blood. So shout out to you. Thank you so much. All right, QSI. Let's take a look at that company. Quantum SI Incorporated. Oof. There is some analysis here. I feel like I did some analysis for this one for somebody in our Discord. Yeah, I remember looking at this chart. But 782, I'm not sure, was this a SPAC? Because if it was a SPAC, we were roughly at $10. Looks like the merger went through, we gapped up 115%, and then we've since sold off a little bit. So I don't know if this was like a SPAC, but there's no revenues, at least not on TradingView, and we've got absolutely no data available to look into. So Palantir, we've gone over Vulcan, so you can actually go back and look at Palantir analysis and then jump over to the live stream here. But right now we're just consolidating sideways for this company, for QSI. So I would watch like this consolidation pattern. Support at 782, resistance is going to be at close to $14. So yeah, so that's going to be the big range that we're trading at. Fundamentals are not really there, so there's no chance that I would basically be looking into this just yet. Dinesh, yes, so that's basically what we are analyzing right now from the markets. As we continue to see, look at that, the Dow really pushing higher, up over 33 basis points here, and the Nasdaq also up over 39 basis points. But yes, the inflation, the top line CPI was flat and core CPI dropped, so I do think that this could be an inflection point. Alright, so this right here is going to be AMD up over 1.5%. And we've got Apple, it's also up over 34 basis points. Got Tesla, trading past over 714 once again. Alright, so BNGO, let's take a quick look at that one. So we've got about 12 minutes left for the markets to open. BNGO, I feel like it's just ready. It's just so ready to make a move. It's just been trading inside the symmetrical triangle. It's just been coiling in right above that 200 SMA. So you'll notice that it's literally just coiling in between the 50 EMA on top, and we got the 200 at the bottom, and we're just coiling in. I remember seeing that pattern, I believe it was for Tesla. I could be wrong, but it was for another company that we saw before it basically had a huge breakout. So thank you, I appreciate that comment. But yeah, so this right here is just a consolidation pattern, and ideally in technical analysis, like the 200 SMA has a much more influence on the price than the 50 EMA. 50 EMA is more like a short-term price. It kind of fluctuates back and forth, but 200 SMA is a real breakdown if you do see one. So in my opinion, that 200 SMA will hold up, and this is a probabilities game, right? We're trying to understand the odds of one outcome versus another. So if I were to take a swing trade on this, moving forward on this potential breakout, because earnings were already out, so based on this coiling pattern, I would keep a very tight stop underneath that 200 SMA with a close below that 200 SMA. That's going to be 595, with a potential target of well over like $7.95, $8 a share if you can get that breakout over that 50 EMA. So in my opinion, the only thing is the volume needs to pick up, and there will be a breakout eventually for BNGO in either direction. Again, the probability for a breakout is much higher than a breakdown. But there is a bigger move coming, in my opinion. Astra, ASTR. This is a company that's been brought up like so many times. I haven't looked into this company. I don't think there's any revenue, but I think that it has a lot of concept behind it based on the satellite launch service company the firm designs, tests, manufactures, operates, next generation space services. What do you guys think about this? And again, I would love to get some more feedback from you guys, because I haven't really done a full analysis on this company, but it's been brought up so many times, even in our Discord, even in our live chat here. So just a lot of interest in this stock apparently. And of course, it's had a huge rally coming in from lows of $8. It's up close to 42%. So, and I don't know if this was a SPAC, but it kind of feels like a SPAC because it was at $10 for the longest time, then gapped up, broke out, and then basically sold all the way down here, made a lower high, and then now it's breaking down once again, starting to see that rally once again. So a lot of volume kind of kicked in on this day, which is August 5th, 33 million shares. So a lot of volume kicked in. And again, I'm more than happy to do analysis on this. So August 10th, right? Was it? Or August 5th? So, all right, so right here, Astrospace sets launch window for first commercial orbital launch, shares jump. So Thursday, they had entered into a multi-year contract with the United States Air Force, or Space Force, excuse me, with a launch window for its first commercial orbital launch starting August 27th. Oof, that is a big catalyst coming up for this company then, August 27th. So it gets the contract. This was August 10th, which is yesterday. And yesterday, basically, let's see, was up another 4.64%. So yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to take a look at this company. Seems like it's got some potential, but ideally, I would like to see some numbers too, like in terms of revenue and what those projections and all those different things look like. Because right now, you'll notice that we don't have anything. No balance sheet, no income statement, of course, no overview either. So all right, I'll keep this on my watch since you guys are so interested in this one. Create some alerts here. All right, so let's take a look at PTRA, another electric vehicle company. I feel like I did some analysis on this for someone. Lower highs, lower lows being formed, trading below the 50 EMA. Now we're seeing that push higher. The RSI looks good. The MACD looks good. For this stock, I wouldn't be surprised to see a retest of $13.75, or even as high as this lower high, which is going to be at $16 a share. That's going to be the lower high to watch for this company. So it's got a lot of potential in terms of technicality, kind of bouncing back higher. So far, we're only up 20%. The RSI is just now starting to push higher based on where it was, and the MACD also saw a cross over the signal line. So wouldn't be surprised to see a 50 EMA retest. So Adam, thank you so much for reminding me. So yeah, we got over 600 people watching. So if you guys can do me two things, like and subscribe, because I know there's a lot of new people watching as well. So if you guys can do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. We talk a lot about fundamental analysis. That's kind of like, so 3 things that we talk about. 3 things. I'll give you 3 things on this channel. Fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and macro analysis, right? We talk about the economy, we talk about fundamentals and valuations, and we talk the charts and technicals as well. So I would really appreciate that. If that's something that you are interested in, I would really appreciate your guys' support. So thank you so much for that. And we got about 7 minutes left for the markets to open. The VIX absolutely getting crushed here, down over 2.3%. With the NASDAQ and the S&P continuing to push higher, and the Dow also up over 30 basis points. All right, let's take a look at GEVO. So GEVO. The third, yes, I will take a look at BNTX here. So GEVO also kind of just in this descending triangle pattern, lower highs forming in this sort of red line you guys see on the chart, support sitting at $5.18. So this right here is going to be the support level to watch for this company. And of course, we're getting rejected at both the 50 EMA and the 200 SMA, right? So you'll notice that we are seeing that perfect tag at 657 yesterday, and then we pulled back. So I do expect some more consolidation for the stock. I won't be surprised that it trades sideways right here until we see that move to the upside, if we can get that breakout over this lower high. That's going to change the trend. That's going to actually reverse us back up to over the moving averages as well. So that's going to be the pattern. Again, support level to watch 516. There is going to be resistance at these lower highs and the moving averages. All right, Dave says best stonks channel by far. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, again, thank you so much for that. Appreciate all of you guys and the support. All right, so we got 5 minutes left for the markets to open. Let's just go over a couple more stocks over John, VT, and R, and then I will go over. There was another stock that we were Vertex Energy. All right, let's take a look at the monthly chart here. So volume is good, but market cap is just too small. 450 million, it's just like a really micro cap stock. Not really kind of fits my criteria. I like to look at least 1.52 billion, 1 billion or more preferably in terms of market cap, but seems like it's had, again, a really strong rally, 3,600% since October 2020. But this is has been on a downtrending channel. Support at closer to this 38-cent level. Resistance at 1460, which is a previous support here. Looks like there wasn't any volume back in the 1990s for the stock, and now we're seeing some volume kind of kick in. But yeah, it's just been consolidating sideways here. So we gapped up, we pulled back. Now we're just consolidating at this 50 EMA. So intraday, you know, I'd like you to continue to monitor the support at this 50 EMA closer to 775 level. But if you do see that breakdown, if the stock breaks down below this 50 EMA right here and the support, I wouldn't be surprised to see a retest of this 200 SMA. So that's going to be a 322. But in terms of what's going to be the next move higher, I mean, we've got the earnings coming up. Looks like they're reporting after today. So make sure that you're doing your diligence on this stock. With these low cap stocks, again, they can be really volatile. So it's really important to continue to monitor these. All right, let's take a look at one more stock that I was going to be watching, BNTX. All right, strong move to the upside here from 50 EMA, July 7th, up 124% from July. That's BioNTech. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I feel like similar to Moderna, right? This stock has just been going up. Yes, India in talks to buy 50 million doses of Pfizer. 50 million doses of German partner BioNTech. Yeah, so I think it's very similar to Moderna's price action that we're seeing. I mean, almost identical to how Moderna's been moving. So this stock is also up 400%. Almost an identical pattern. I mean, this is very strange. If I were to kind of lay this out, let's see. Look at this. I mean, it's almost identical to how they've moved. Like, moves up, moves down, moves up, moves down, moves up, moves down, moves up, moves down. Huge rally, and now we're seeing that back down. So almost like pattern for pattern, right, for these two companies. Even from the beginning, from this like January 2020, they've just been going up. So that's interesting. But yeah, for this one, I mean, this is a little bit overbought, similar to Moderna's analysis. You know, the RSI is now starting to come back down, the MACD is coming down, so I would be very cautious. Of course, I would not FOMO in on kind of buying at these levels because technically this is very overbought, in my opinion. And it trades at 38 times sales, and of course 80 times price to earnings. So it's pretty rich. So 50 EMA is going to be the support. I mean, we can maybe identify a 4-hour support here. So there's going to be another level closer to this right here that we can watch. There was like an ascending, sort of like a bull flag forming here when we saw that breakout. So push higher, consolidating, and then huge breakout, and now we're starting to come back down. So support is going to be at 384, all the way as low as that 50 EMA at 364. Stock addition, I bought Moderna at $24. That is incredible price. Congratulations on that. We were just talking about earlier, but the question is that did you sell? Did you sell or did you hold on throughout this volatility? Because that should be celebrated. I mean, that is just a massive trade. 24 would have been like here, February 2020. We were just talking about it earlier. If somebody here, that would have been like a trade for the last 18 months. Held. That's great. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah, those are monstrous gains. All right, so the market's gonna be opening up in about 20 seconds. We got the markets over here. We're gonna switch over to the indexes and do our regular routine, and then of course go over. Kevin, yes, we can go over bond yields as well, but there's not really much to go over. They have been coming down for the 10 years. We've got an auction at 1 p.m. today, so that's gonna drive the prices and the yields as well. So we'll continue to monitor this, but we are coming down as the inflation report came out. All right, so the markets are open here. So we got a couple prices going up for Upstart at 141. No, that's just an old target, I'm assuming. All right, so 161, we're still up over 22%. Next target at 170. We're gonna switch over to the indexes here. And the Dow. And let's see how the markets do today. What do you guys think? Green or red? What are we doing? What are we thinking here for the markets today? Red or green? Let me know in the live chat. All right, so we got let's put AMC over here, slightly down. We got Apple still up. We got Tesla up 713, and AMD at $108, back up to over 1.9, almost 2% in the greens. So green, 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 couple reds, blue markets coming. I like that. Oh, look at that, Upstart at our target. Upstart just broke through our 170 target. 25% up on the day. That's incredible. Just gonna send out a quick alert in our Discord. Let's see. Alright, I'm just gonna type it out. I'm not gonna take a screenshot today. No way, somebody had on Wall Street Bets had 80k worth of puts. Oof. Alright, let's take a look at Coinbase and see how that's doing. Pushing higher, 288. Look at that, up almost 7% on the day. That is incredible. My price target at $302, coming in closer than we thought. And again, I literally put a Discord market update post at $302 at 254 breakout. I said that I know that $302 is a steep target and it's going to take us time to get there, and we're already at almost 289. We're almost at 290. That's incredible. So Tesla, yeah, pulling back a little bit, 710. We got EMC slightly down over 1.5%. All right, let's take a quick scan of the markets and let's see how we're doing. All right, so we got ASTR, Astrospace, that we just added to the watch list today, slightly down over 5%. Trade Desk pulling back. Trade Desk has had a huge rally in the last couple of days. I've been watching the stock. It's just been back up to almost new all-time highs again. But it's at 86 now, down a little bit over 1.5%. Tattooed Chef, they've got earnings tomorrow, I believe. So Tattooed Chef tomorrow after the close, slightly down pre-earnings here. Then we got AMC, we covered. Clover Health slightly down. Crocs slightly down. Let's take a look at the stocks that are green. Upstart, 20%, so now on 161. You see that? You see that pullback here on Upstart at 170? Wow. 172 was our target resistance. We hit that resistance and we potentially back down to filling that this gap. So this is a huge gap that we could see Upstart kind of fill in. Considering, of course, that the RSI is now very, very overbought as well. HIMS, I'm interested in this stock. I'm kind of watching it closely because somebody brought it up, so we'll keep that on watch. All right, back to our analysis. So Fubo is up over 12% now, so strong move on Fubo, $32. Next resistance at 35, so we got up to that 33.68 before pulling back. We got the VIX still down over 2.8%, the VXN, which is correlated to the NASDAQ. This is delayed, so 3.5% right now it's showing, but I'm assuming it's down because that one is delayed. AMD up over 2%, Square's up over 2.7%. Mara is up almost 3%. 38.75 is our next target on Mara stock. So 38.75 is the next level we're watching. Where's crypto? I've really not covered Bitcoin all day today. How is that possible? Let's see. So Ethereum back up to 3,200 here. That's really strong, 32.42. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. Look at that, 46,000 here, back up, almost 46,300. Yeah, so strong breakout that we're seeing right now in progress above that 200 SMA and above that resistance level as well. So this has been a strong rally for Bitcoin. 60% jump from that $30,000 support. We got that first rejection, minor pullback from that resistance, and then a huge breakout in play right now if this continues to hold up. Moving forward. So here, all right, Unity Software is also up over 6% on the day. Upstart still holding up, so that's good. We got SoFi. Roblox is continuing on that rally, back up to almost $90 a share. PayPal is up, and Neo is up over 1.2%. That's good. Neo reporting their earnings today. You better not let us down. All right. So other stocks, pretty much everything else is flat, and the ones that are red, EMC, Astra, Trade Desk, Tattooed Chef, a little bit. ADA going crazy. Yeah, I don't think we've covered Cardano or on this on the channel here. All right, coin may not hold 280. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not looking very strong because we are seeing a little bit of. Where did my price target go here? Oh, this is a crypto. Right. So yeah, 283 is still kind of holding up, but I don't think we have to take a look at the intraday price action here. So Coinbase pulling back a little bit on the 5-minute chart. Apple is still holding up slightly, and Upstart did see a little bit of volatility intraday. The volume is still good. I mean, look at the volume, 2.4 million. This is the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes. Look at the volume here, 2.4 million shares already for Upstart. The average, 3.5. We will break the average 10-day volume in the first 15 minutes of trading for Upstart. And then we got Tesla, of course, pulling back a little bit, slightly in the red. Amazon flat, Netflix is also flat. Let's look at some of the energy companies. Chevron, Exxon slightly down with oil prices still trading under $70 a barrel. Gold and silver has absolutely been getting destroyed lately, right? So gold back up to over 1,700. Silver is back up to 2,350. Slightly in the green. Let's look at some recovery stocks. Recovery plays here. So Fiverr still coming down. We got Norwegian, Royal, Caribbean Cruise Lines, MGM, slightly down over 1.5% each. American Airlines, Delta, Southwest, they are all down, with GE also pulling back. And then everything else is pretty flat, with AMD, Square, and Nextera Energy up. So yeah, overall, I'd say, look at that, a huge turnaround in growth here. The Nasdaq pulling back and the Dow catching a lot of bids. And the S&P also pretty much up over 22 basis points. Vertex is slightly in the green, so it had a really steep sell-off yesterday. I couldn't really find a catalyst on that stock. VRTX did sell off over 2%. Neo is still up over 1% here. Coinbase still holding above 280. We got Upstart pushing higher once again at 167. 172 is the all-time, well, is the high for the day. 191 is the all-time high. All right, what stocks can we look into? So Walgreens, another 83 basis points. That's awesome. That's great. Again, Walgreens is more like a value play, right? Not expecting like a huge growth or capital appreciation, like 20-25%. That would be great out of Walgreens, with of course with a 4% yield as well. So how do you see the market in the next 2 to 3 months? That's a great question. I see the labor market improving. I see inflation numbers coming down. I see the FOMC meetings kind of in September and then later this year. So we're going to have the Fed basically tell us what their outlook is in monetary policy and what they decide to do with tapering and asset purchase tapering and interest rates. So that is going to dictate where the markets really go. If you look at the seasonality charts, you'll basically notice that September is not the best month. Historically, it's been one of the weakest months in the markets. So if you do see a pullback, which I wouldn't be surprised to see one, I'd be ready to kind of pick up on some more growth and value stocks both. Still keep it, in my opinion, personal portfolio, I'll keep it a little bit more growth oriented, but would still have some value plays and some diversity as well in terms of those other plays. But that's one of the things, right? You never want to be completely out of the market. You never want to be, in my opinion, again, this is my analysis and opinion, you never want to be completely out of the markets, because just those 50 best days in the markets can really cost you a lot of the returns over the long term. So you always want to stay invested. Whatever that cash percentage is in your account that you want to keep on the sidelines, that's up to you. Whether that's 1%, whether that's 5%, whether that's 80%. Right? That's an analysis that you need to make. What I like to do is, if I think that everything is getting too frothy, if I don't have any opportunities to basically buy shares, then I start raising cash. That's what I've been doing. I'm just, any additional money I have, just on the sidelines waiting for opportunities. And then if there's companies like Walgreens, there's companies like Corsair Gaming, Vertex, they continue to stay undervalued, then I can continue to kind of build my position in that. Upstart, we were building one, but it continued to rally. It broke out pretty significantly, right? Otherwise, I would have loved to buy it at under 110, under $100 on this stock. My price targets are really steep. They are like steep to the downside a lot in terms of where I'm going to be buying those. So sometimes you have patience pay off. Sometimes you do miss out on the opportunities, but it's all about having the right mindset and being disciplined and patient with your style of investing. And that's very important. Because the last thing we want to do is just like chase stocks, right? And something's going up and up and up, and we just get in, and the next thing you know, it's just starting to come back down. So those are my 2 cents here. Peyton, that's a great question. Take Two Interactive. I did research this a little bit. I think the biggest catalyst for this company to be down was their delays when it comes to the new games and whatever brands they have running right now. But this is undervalued. I mean, if you ask me, like, this is trading at a reasonable valuation. So, 28 times earnings, 5 times sales. We got the balance sheet that's really strong for the company. So again, practically no debt with over $3 billion in cash. 2024 lead for the catalyst. Did 2024 calls already come out? I couldn't see any of those. I don't know if they're already out, but leaps on this, growing cash flows as well. For the catalyst of Grand Theft Auto coming out in 2023, 2024. Man, I've been waiting for this game for so long. How many of you guys have actually played GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5? That was a great game. I loved it. I don't know why they take so long to release the next sort of edition, but it was such a fun game. Such a fun game. So I can't wait for the new version. But yeah, I think Take Two Interactive Software, I think has a lot of potential right now based on where it is. Leaps are coming in September. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I think there may be opportunity here. 150, if it comes down, like, I really start a small position at 150s on this stock. That's why I got so many alerts here. Actually, I wouldn't mind starting a new position today at 160s when we get off the live stream here. Also, other than stocks, if there's any soccer fans or football fans here watching, what do you guys think about Messi's new signing in PSG? I was like dying to talk to somebody about it because I've pretty much played football, soccer my whole life, and I've been really, really interested in that. And this signing was just like unbelievable. Just a few days ago, we saw that press conference. And he was just like, for Barcelona. And again, I know not a lot of people are going to be interested in this, but I thought it was like pretty big news. Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. I really want Ronaldo to join PSG, Shay, you literally took the words out of my mouth. You literally took the words out of my mouth. I really want to see them both play together. It's like, who doesn't want to see that happen, right? Who doesn't want to see that happen? And now it's like a huge possibility, right? The probability of that happening is so high. I just can't still get my head wrapped around the fact that that Messi and Ramos are going to play together. That is just crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, I mean they should win big titles this year with the squad that they have. All right, so we got a little bit of a sell-off here happening in tech and growth here. So we got the Nasdaq really starting to come down, with the Dow pushing higher, over 0.5%. We got the Nasdaq pulling back here. Let's take a look at some banks, see what they're doing. So there we go. They're all of a sudden they're up 1.3%. Bank of America was actually down pre-market when we looked at it. So the yields started pushing higher once again. The 10-year yields, they were down roughly 1%, trading as low as 1.33, and they're back up. They're back up. The auctions at 1 p.m. For the 10-year notes. And what that really means is if there's demand for bonds, prices will go up, yields will come down. If there's not a lot of demand for the bonds, prices will stay relatively flat, or they could potentially come down, pushing the yields higher. So if the yields go up, that's going to help banks, and that's going to bring growth down. So that is going to be interesting to watch moving forward as well. All right, guys, so we've been live for about an hour and a half. I do want to thank you guys for your support. We've actually had the most live stream viewers we've ever had on the channel, I think, well over 700. So thank you so much for joining in. And again, if you guys want to get real-time updates, market updates, buy and sell alerts, and all those different things with our private Discord, tutorials and fundamental technical analysis, and a lot of market analysis as well. The link to our Patreon is going to be down in the description below, right? So we have a sale in August, 16% off. You're more than welcome to join. So I don't have any courses coming up for leaps, calls, or puts, but I do have some things I'm working on in the fundamental analysis space and technical analysis. I know that you guys are very, very interested in technical analysis tutorials, so I will be doing that in the future as well, to basically go over everything that I know of based on technical analysis. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will put out a summary video going over inflation, what the numbers were, and how the markets are reacting to it. And again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, great morning, great evening, wherever you guys are watching from. I love you all. Appreciate you all. Make sure that you drop that like, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. See ya.